interesting enough, you brought up Orphan Black, and that's where our interest in biohacking was really born. It was during Orphan Black that CRISPR technology really sprang to the floor, as well as the patent war around it. So the corporate science of CRISPR was in high relief when we were working on Orphan Black, as well as the hard science and the amazing technical revolution that unfolded with CRISPR. So it does go back to that. It goes back to that writer's room. It goes back to those original researchers and people working on that. And then ultimately, the truth that we were discovering was stranger than the fiction,
Now, what are your thoughts about what this movement is in reaction to?
What I really learned making this film is that biohacking is really a response to gaps in society, and particularly in American society, where you've got unequal access to healthcare, you've got very expensive and unaffordable healthcare for many people. That's something I think, we in Canada can take really for granted. It's also a response to people who have rare diseases. That doesn't create a profit incentive for corporations to find cures or treatments for those diseases if there's only 27 people on the planet that have a rare genetic disease. I think it's also a response to the corporatization and marketization of science. And really, the emergence of the term science isn't that old. It's just over about 150 years old. And so if you think before that time, all quote-unquote scientific discovery was made by individuals just going out in the field. It was made through observation. If you think about early herbal medicine and using plants to treat ourselves medically, that would have all arisen by people just trying it, tasting things, seeing what happened over thousands of years. So it's only really recently that science became an institutional thing.
Well, many of the biohackers you spoke to had altruistic views. The film centers around a really controversial character named Aaron Treywick. And he was the CEO of a biotech company, and it's kind of like this perfect example of how greed and desire can ruin things. Can you tell us more about him?
He's an interesting character study because in a lot of ways, he began as, I think, as idealistic as many of the biohackers, but he joined this very American lobbyist world in DC, and he took on this sort of hustler persona. I think he's an empathetic figure at the end. At least he remains.